Hello, and welcome to another devlog video here. I'm just going to delete everything here. I'm going to delete all of my Storyteller and Game Bridge assets, and I'm going to re-import everything and show you how we got to this point. In the next video, I'm going to be showing you how to set up more condition systems, but let's just show you how to do the imports really nicely here. So select my temp story here, this Storyteller project, this story, the Game Bridge folder, and let's just delete everything. Ah, look at that mess. All right, file, new scene. Let's not save this. Let's also just reload to the default because we just improperly destroyed all of our editor windows. All right, let's import Game Bridge and Storyteller. Now we need to import Storyteller before Game Bridge. And the reason why we need to import Storyteller before Game Bridge is that Game Bridge relies on Storyteller code. So if you import Game Bridge first, then you're going to get errors because the Storyteller code won't exist in the project. Now, another thing is that the Storyteller file size is now much larger than it was before because of the example Game Bridge scene assets. Now, if you don't want these assets, you can delete them right after. And your project size will just be, Storyteller project size will just be about 1 megabyte, and so too will the Game Bridge project. Now let's go ahead and just import this. It might take a little while. All right, now that it's imported, we could go ahead and import the Game Bridge. So let's drag in the Game Bridge, import everything. Now these import warnings are for a character animation. The animation is actually in the Game Bridge example scene assets. So again, if you delete them, then these messages go away. All right, as soon as this is loaded in, I'm just gonna clear this, and we're gonna reload the default already. So let's go ahead and go Tools, Dynamo, Storyteller. Let's do default again. Seems like the windows weren't properly. All right, so let's go ahead and launch it. There we go. I like having my link manager to the lower right and my hierarchy also to the lower right so that I have more real estate for the Storyteller canvas. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and put my timeline here, and let's create a new story project. So let's right click, we could right click and create a story, but let's just use the menu here, select, just click. All right, there we go. We just created a new story. Right click, go to Windows, Templates, double click, and there we go. This is our entire NPC dialog setup. All right, so this little question mark here is, I had an image for the character on my old computer, but the character image doesn't exist on this computer, so nothing links to that image. So we can't link to that image, so let's delete that, and we're all good. Also, I like to visualize the story flow, so let's right click, go to display, and visualize story flow. So now we can see how the story flows. All right, next thing to do is, let's just increase the zoom on this. All right, let's take a look at the structure really quickly. So if we go to the inspector, the properties window, and we select our path check here, we'll see that the start time on it is set to -1. Now remember that everything in Storyteller works on time. So if we set path check to -1, that means it's the first route that's going to be processed before any other node element. So you can see each of these have a start time of 0, and this is -1, so it will be the first thing processed. All right, so what I'm going to do now is open up the NPC scene, open up the scene, and then select the player, go to the inspector, scroll down, you can see it says make sure that the story product is the correct project. And of course it's not, because we just created this new project, but we still want to push this template data that we just put into the scene. We want to push that over into our NPC walk-up scene data here. But as you can see here, you can tell that these need to be re-imported because they're not showing the scene data icon here. So select both of them, right click and re-import, and fix that up. And then we go ahead and go back, right click, go to Windows, Open up the game bridge, and there's our game bridge. Just dock it next to the properties window. And one thing that we're going to want to do in this particular instance here, you won't have to do this if you're working with your own story project, but because I moved this one from another computer to this machine, I'm going to have to go to my inspector and set the scene ID to -0, and this is going to be done automatically in the next update, but for this one it has to be set manual to 0, and that's because here we'll be counting scenes from 0, 1, 2, 3, and in 0 scene here is where we have all of our NPC walk up dialogue. In scene 1 we have nothing, but this was set to scene 1, so we had to set it back to 0. Alright, so we're working with scene 0, so 0. Alright, now we'll go back to Game Bridge and just hit push. So we push all data from scene 0 into the scene data. Simple. Alright, now we just go back to the player here, go to the inspector, scroll down, and click setup, since we already set the player. And so if we select our player, now we can see our players. Let's zoom down a little bit. Select the player, go to some player information, and we can see that player information now. Alright, go back to the player here, deselect that. Let's go to NPC1, let's set up NPC1, NPC2, 3, 4, and then 5. And I will notice that there's also a matching route number. Now what this matching route number is corresponding to are these particular routes here. So let's go ahead and select this path check value and go to the properties window. So this says that the current route is route number 3, which is this one, 0, 1, 2, 3. Now if we select this route, it changes to 2. If we select this one, it changes to 1, and this one, route 0. So these correspond to particular routes which our player can choose. So if we decide to speak to this character, would either be choosing route 1, 2, 3, or 4. 0, 1, 2, or 3, actually. Alright, so here, NPC1, which is the NPC1 route here, would of course be set to 0. NPC2 here, NPC2 route, would be set to 1. 3 would be set to 2. And this one called NPC5, we just give it 3 because NPC4 isn't linked up here. Alright, and we can go ahead and run the scene, and you'll see absolutely nothing spectacular happen. That's because we haven't told the first route what to do. So if we select this route here called path check, and then select the player, scroll down, let's go ahead and just add 2 functions to this one. And whenever this path is processed, whenever let's go ahead and move this here, show you how simple this is, and alt rotate, let's find that. So basically player chooses path, this whatever he walks on is the path. If path is equal to this character, then we'll go with this route. Simple. So then we need to determine what happens when we walk up to a character, and we do that right here. So if we walk up to someone, then we want to say stage canvas game object dot set active is going to be equal to true, and at the same time we're going to want to say player, and these players have these character components on them which have a function called continue on route, which just means that whichever route you choose, just continue moving on that route. Alright, so if we run the scene now, we forgot to turn on the auto start. We forgot to turn on our player, so select the player here, turn on the player, run the scene, and we're gonna have our dialogue. And you see we move through, we have this which we don't want to see here. In the next video, as I mentioned before, we're going to show you how to work with setting up more of the condition systems, but I'll show you how to quickly get over that particular issue right there. So you want to determine whether or not you need to leave here. So let's go ahead and add a new condition. So before we're able to leave, so what happens here, if we run the scene again, NPC says, sorry, you're not at the right legal drinking age. And actually this character needs to determine whether we're at the right legal drinking age, but I'll show you that in the next video. It says you need to leave. We don't actually want to have a choice between leave and blank, because this leave and blank are represented here. Right, fix the play mode tint. So now these two choices correspond to these two. However, there's no text to display here, so we don't want to have to deal with this process. So I'll select this route here, and I'll simply say player dot character that continue on route. Oh, forgot to turn on the auto start. Now, there we go. Where I leave. All right. So in the next video, we'll talk more about setting up more of these condition systems. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.